Alright, so I'm going to do a quick repair explanation on this Nintendo Switch that I've just repaired, which actually had a fault on the EMMC board, which I'm going to tell you what that was in a second. So anyway, this come into me and it wasn't booting up, and there was a short on this cap here, this little cap here, and there was also a short circuit on this cap on PI3 USB, which is the video output encoder. So I quoted the customer for an M92 and a PI3 USB, swapped them over, and I didn't check the board when I took the chips off, and there was still a short circuit afterwards, so I was a bit like, oh shit. So I've made the customer pay for something that didn't even need doing. So anyway, I looked into it a bit further and I found on the internet that a short on the EMMC module can cause PI3 to show up shorted. So simply all I did was to unplug the EMMC module because it's on this little sub board, and the short had gone away on M92 and on PI3 USB. So obviously there's not much on this board, as you can see. There's some ceramic caps, and then you have your EMMC flash module here, which, by the way, is coded to the CPU. You cannot swap the EMMC modules willy-nilly, they won't work. As you can see, this is one off a donor board here. This one is corrupted and gets the switch stuck in a boot loop, but it can't be reflashed, so the console can't be repaired. So anyway, I discovered that there was a short on the EMMC, so I thought straight away it's going to be the flash IC that's faulty. So I pulled the flash IC off the board, and there was still a short circuit on this little PCB here. So obviously I was a bit like, oh shit, it wasn't the EMMC, it's one of the components on the board, or the board itself. So anyway, I don't know if you can sort of see here the difference between the two boards. There is a couple of caps that are missing. Oops. On this one, I took that one off. That's after I pulled this off, you see. And the short was still there, so then I pulled that one off. The short was still there. So then I pulled this ceramic cap off the EMMC module, this one. And the short had gone away. Tested the cap out of circuit, and it was that ceramic cap on the EMMC module that was shorted, and it was causing the switch to not boot. So obviously then I had to reball the EMMC module because I took it off. It's quite a small chip and it's pretty hard to reball, so what I did was I used solder paste and flux, and I simply went over the EMMC chip at 420 degrees my soldering iron, flowed on a load of this stuff, and then I flowed a load of it onto the actual pads on the board. Flowed this back on with 440 degree air. Literally only took about 30 seconds of heating, and the chip just went straight into place. I mean, it doesn't look like it's on there 100% straight, but it is. Give it a little tap, move back into place, and that was it. So I'm just going to show you here as best as I can with my shoddy camera work that I'm renowned for doing. I'm going to show you that if you short out them two pads where that cap went, that you will get a short on PI3 USB. Obviously I'm going to use my donor board here, which I will show you does not have a short circuit on the PI3 USB. Hopefully you can see this. So that's the side where we're shorted, and this side is ground. So as you can see, no short circuit. I hope you can see that. So what I'm going to do now is bridge out these two pads where the cap went, and then you're going to see that there'll be a short on PI3 USB. we go. So I don't know if you can see that there. Bridged out them pads. I'm going to put the EMC on this board here. There we go. Now there will be a short circuit on PI3 USB and M92 T36. You see, there is now a short circuit on both sides of this cap. And there's also a short circuit on the big Max IC here. This big Max power IC. There's also a short circuit on this second cap here when the EMMC is shorted. So I'll take that off. Well, actually, let me just show you that there is a fault now on M92 as well. So that cap is shorted. So pull this back off. I'm going to take that little bridge off, just like that. I'm going to put this back on. I don't know what that Windows sound in the background is, I'm sorry if you can hear that. So yeah, took that bridge out, put the EMMC back on, and the short is now gone. So there is no longer a short on the video IC, or on M92, or on the Max IC up here. I should have shown you that actually. So yeah, that's all it was. On the EMMC board, there was a little ceramic cap that was shorted and was causing the switch to not work. I'm going to put it back in the console, put it the right way. Obviously make sure the battery is disconnected. Plug the battery back in. Oh, that was it. Oh. And as you can see, it boots up and it's living again. So everything works. The memory's still working, stored games and the storage still load up fine. So as you can see, I haven't damaged the IC by taking it on and off, luckily. So, but yeah, that is a quick video, and hopefully any other techies out there, like the coder and whoever else, you guys, if you ever get a switch with the short on the EMMC, check the little ceramic caps before you actually pull the chip off, because it wasn't the chip that was faulty, it was this little guy right here. So what I might actually do is take this off. I'll measure the capacitance of it. It's probably going to be around 50 volt rated or something like that, and then I'll put it in the comments what the value of this cap here is, so that if you ever need to replace it, you guys will know what value it is. And obviously it's probably a good idea to replace this and keep it in the circuit, because this chip is very sensitive, and that cap is going to be used for local decoupling for this chip. So I'm going to take it off this scrap one here, find out the value of it, and then replace it, and hopefully we're case closed on this one. And by the way, this is my first ever reball as well, so I was pretty happy when it went right. As you can see, my other soldering is pretty bang on. So the only other issue I noticed with this switch now is that there's a fucking pin in the charging port that's bent out of shape. That one on the very end, it's a ground pin, so now I'm going to have to re-quote the customer for a new port as well. So, but at least the switch is definitely working. So sweet, thanks for watching.